A year ago, 4 million people were living here in Wad Madani. Two-thirds of them arrived after fleeing fighting between Sudanese government troops and the paramilitary rapid support forces in Khartoum. In December 2023, the RSF returned and people fled again. But a few have stayed.
My elder sister was disabled and sick, so we couldn't leave. The amount of suffering from the treatment of the RSF is difficult to describe. They used every method of violence and terror against us. They would jump over the walls of homes, take people's property by force, mobile phones, TV screens, anything. They shot people dead in their homes. You walk in the street feeling unsafe at any time.
A few others who fled also returned recently.
I came back 2 days ago, but I found my home in a miserable condition. They have left nothing in it, even the beds. They took away every single item.
This market used to be popular, but no one comes here now. Street after street is empty, forming a ghost city spreading as far as the eye can see. This medical compound was seized by RSF fighters and used as a base. A military vehicle full of weapons exploded at the entrance, setting fire to the entire building. People we spoke to here say this is one of several sites around Madani for dumping vehicles vandalized by RSF. They say any vehicles that couldn't be driven away have been stripped of their engines and any other valuable spare parts before being left on the streets. With no cars and no public transportation, people have returned to the age of the cart, drawn by donkeys. But more than transportation, a lack of food, water and electricity is making life here nearly impossible. Some aid is being distributed along with water, although there's not nearly enough. The authorities say they're working to get the main water purification facility operating again.
The extent of the damage was huge and systematic. We counted more than 3,200 water wells that were destroyed. The total cost of the damage in water infrastructure alone is more than $33 million.
But even as this effort goes on, Wad Madani remains a broken city. One covered in the scars and debris left by a war machine that ripped out its life. Mohamed, Vall, Jazeera, Wad Madani, Sudan.
Let's bring in Abdirahman Ali in Port Sudan. You're the Sudan Country Director for CARE International. Thank you for being with us. So, Sudan is one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. What are your priorities around the country right now?
Thank you for having me on this program. The biggest priority and the most urgent priority for the Sudanese population at this particular time is access to food, clean water, health, and protection, particularly women and girls who have been bearing the brunt of this war. CARE has been providing health, nutrition, water, and food and cash assistance to most of the population in areas that we operate, particularly within the internally displaced person camps. The priority at the moment also is, and overall, is to bring this particular conflict to an end. This is the most urgent thing as well for the people of Sudan. We continue to provide this assistance in very difficult conditions. The internally displaced persons, for instance, continue to live in deplorable situations in public places like schools and other facilities. This is not what the people of Sudan need at this particular time. We look forward to having this conflict coming to an end.
At the moment, is it possible to get aid, such as food, water, and other basic necessities, to populations that are in combat zones?
It is challenging to get aid to most places in Sudan, particularly in areas where we have active conflict, places like Khartoum, Jazeera, and other places in the Darfur states. We continue to work closely with the authorities to provide us with the unfettered access to this particular population. But the situation continues to get complicated as the war continues. This conflict is impacting almost everyone, but more so women and girls who have also been subjected to untold suffering, including gender-based violence. This is one of the biggest challenges, particularly facing women at this particular time in Sudan, and we call upon the parties to the conflict to prioritize human life, protect civilians, to uphold their obligation under international humanitarian law, and to ensure that public facilities, humanitarian aid workers, and the civilians are protected from bombardments and killings that we continue to witness in many parts of Sudan.
So, as you well know, the United States a couple of weeks ago officially declared that there was a genocide being committed by the RSF in West Sudan region. Since that official declaration was made, has anything changed in West Sudan? I beg your pardon, West Darfur.
We continue, our focus at the moment is to ensure that the supplies we have and the assistance we have reaches people who need them most. We continue to advocate for unimpeded, uninterrupted humanitarian access for the people who are in need. And we call upon the parties to the conflict to ensure that aid workers have access to this population. This is the most important thing and our current focus.
All right. Abdirahman Ali in Port Sudan for CARE International. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on this program.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.